starting with a new topic, AS24, discontinuing operations, simple accounting standard, right? And moreover, we'll be completing this topic in this session itself. Now, what exactly this standard is, sir? It is again a disclosure related standard where you have to disclose all the relevant information with respect to those operations which you are discontinuing. Means you are planning to close down that particular operation or part of your business, right? And the process is going on for discontinuance. So you have to report all the information. That is, what type of part of the enterprise is sold, how many assets sold, what is the profit or loss. Separate profit and loss account has to be made for such discontinuing operations. Separate cash flow statement is required. So technically, this accounting standard covers only the disclosure requirements with respect to discontinuing operation. This AS does not require the disclosure of the operations which have already been discontinued. So if they have already been discontinued, means topic is over. Why to disclose again? So here we are going to disclose only those operations which we are planning to discontinue or they are in the process of discontinuation. Correct. So that is the basic objective of the standard. We'll just read the objective first. What it says: to establish principles for reporting information. Reporting information is nothing but disclosure about discontinuing operation. The standard covers discontinuing operations rather than discontinued operations. The focus of the disclosure of the information is on the operations which the enterprise plans to discontinue rather than disclosing about the operations which are already discontinued. So pure focus is on what? Disclosure of the discontinuing operations. So sir, in this topic, the majority weightage is on what do you mean by discontinuing operation. Once you understand this, what is meant by discontinuing operation, I would say 90% of the topic is over. Then only 10% is what remaining. So if you understand what exactly is called as a discontinuing operation, then the topic is over. Then you just have to understand the disclosure requirements. That's it. So this definition of discontinuing operation is covered by para 3 of the standard. And this has also been asked in the exam. What are discontinuing operations as per AS24? A direct question where you have to note down these 3 points of the definition. Now, if you see the definition, point number 1, point number 2, and point number 3. But never start reading the definition from point number 1. We will always start to read the definition from point number 2 and 3 because that will give you a better understanding. Right? Now, sir, please understand what is exactly a discontinuing operation. Sir, leave the discontinuing word aside. What is operation? Sir, what is operation? Not that operation that doctor wants, sir. We are talking about the operation which is a component of an enterprise. The operation or a business operation is a component of an enterprise. And just before this standard, we learned AS17, and AS17 also the definition was same. It's a distinguishable component of an enterprise. So basically, sir, we are talking about discontinuance of any business segment or discontinuance of any geographical segment. Means Titan Limited has decided to discontinue Titan Eyewear business. So that is a discontinuing operation because Titan Eye Plus is a separate business segment. I hope you understand my point. Apple decided to stop selling Apple products in India. So they are discontinuing the entire geographical location. So India is a separate geographical segment for them and they have decided to discontinue. Right? So the first point, as per para 3 of the standard, a discontinuing operation is a component of an enterprise. And when I say discontinuing operation is a component of an enterprise, means it is either a business segment of the enterprise or it is a geographical segment. I hope this first point is clear, right? I hope this first point is clear. So discontinuing operation can either be a business or a geographical segment. And this business or geographical segment is further again gives us a confirmation when we read point number 2 and point number 3. So let us start our definition with point number 2 and point number 3 first, and then go for discontinuing. Because, sir, first you have to decide whether it is an operation or not. Once you have satisfied, yes, it is an operation, because point number 2 and point number 3 says that, yes, it's a separate business operation. And then I will apply the conditions of discontinuance, which is in point number 1A, 1B, and 1C, or 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. So let us now read the definition. This is how it is read. As per paragraph 3 of the standard, a discontinuing operation is a component of an enterprise that represents separate major line of business. Separate major line of business means it's a business segment or geographical area of operation. Now, when I say geographical area of operation, means it's a geographical segment. So it's a separate component of an enterprise that is either a business segment or a geographical separate segment, and that can be distinguished operationally. Obviously, yes, because my segments have different operations. Because if they have operations in common, we don't make them as separate segments. We rather combine them as one single segment. Yes or no? And for financial reporting purpose, means they can be distinguished operationally as well as they can be distinguished for financial reporting purpose. Now, financial reporting purpose means for segment reporting. So can I say for segment reporting, your segments are distinguished from one another? So, sir, point number 2 and point number 3 gives me a final conclusion that yes, operation should be either a business segment or a geographical segment, and they should be distinguished operationally as well as for financial reporting purpose. Means you can calculate each and every segment's asset, you can calculate their liability separately, you can find out their revenue separately, you can find out their expenses separately, and you can also find out their profit or losses separately. So first you have to always read point number 1 and 2. So point number 1 and 2 gives you a guarantee that yes, it can either be a business or a geographical segment. Now, point number 1 tells you what are you actually going to do with it. So if you are going to discontinue, discontinuance can be done in any of the 3 modes. So let us now read it further. A discontinuing operation is a component of an enterprise that represents separate major line of business or geographical area of operation, and that can be distinguished operationally and for financial reporting purposes, that the enterprise pursuant to a single plan. So enterprise is going to make a single plan for discontinuing it in any of the 3 modes. That the enterprise pursuant to a single plan is disposing of substantially in its entirety. Disposing of substantially in its entirety means entire segment will be sold off, such as by selling the component in a single transaction. Means I will find the eligible buyer and I will sell off the entire operation. Means Titan Limited has decided to sell off Titan Eyewear substantially in its entirety by entering into a selling agreement. Say, for example, Titan has decided to sell off Titan Eyewear business to Lenskart in a single agreement. So Lenskart will pay a lump sum amount and buy out entire eyewear segment from Titan. Or this is a single transaction. In single transaction means in one transaction, one agreement, sell off the unit. Or you can also do the disposing of substantially in its entirety by the way of demerger. And sir, best example, you know what is demerger before that? You know what is demerger? Now say this is a full company. This is a full enterprise, right? And in this enterprise, there are lots of segments. So one segment, I have demerged. Remove it from here. See, you can see. This is the entire segment. This is the entire enterprise. One segment I'm going to remove out and I'm going to demerge it. Demerge means remove it from the main enterprise and make a new company out of it. That is called as demerger. And sir, one of the hot demergers going on in the country nowadays is Tata Motors. Live example. Tata Motors passenger division is going to be demerged. I think for roughly 9,500 or 9,600 crores is the valuation. So Tata Motors Limited has basically three business segments: light commercial vehicles, heavy commercial vehicles, and passenger vehicles. Heavy commercial is the trucks, big trucks of that come of Tata, and light commercial is that small Tata Ace, small 2-ton tempos. And passenger vehicle is all the Tata cars that we use: Indica, Tata Zest, Bolt, on all those cars, Nexon and all. So what they are doing is passenger vehicle segment, they are going to demerge. So that is called as a discontinuing operation. So they will demerge out of the main company and form a new company. So for the main company, it is a discontinuing operation. I hope you are getting the point. For the main company, think from the main company point of view. For main company, we have now discontinued passenger vehicles in the form of what? Demerger. And now the new company will be formed who will now run the business of passenger vehicles. Now, generally, why such discontinuance are made? Sir, one of the biggest reason for discontinuing any of the operation is losses. The operation is not profit making for the enterprise, hence the enterprise can discontinue the same. And sir, for Tata also it is the same thing. Passenger division is not profitable, sir. It is surviving only because of JLR, that is Jaguar and Land Rover. You will not believe, Tata Motors February 2021 sales is a record all-time high in the last 7 years. Means whatever they sold in February 2021 was a record high monthly sale of last 7 years. Means from last 7 years, they have never sold these many number of units before. And Tata sales, trust me, are very poor. And Tata is getting sales only because of one reason: Maruti doesn't have diesel. Maruti doesn't have diesel vehicles. So the people who are willing to buy a diesel car, they are all going to Tata. Because comparatively, Tata vehicles are cheaper than Hyundai. Hyundai is always costly. And spare parts of Hyundai is also costly. Because I also had a Hyundai car with me. It's very expensive, maintaining a Hyundai car. A normal spare part of Maruti, which is available for 1,500, the same type of spare part will be available for Hyundai for a similar type of car for 6,000 rupees. That is the difference. Maruti is the cheapest. Sir, Maruti, it is Tata who is the cheapest. Yes, Tata is also coming into electric cars. So already Nexon EV is there, which is a good performing. Now they are coming with Tata Tigor EV. And now Tata has even announced that all their EV vehicles will be almost 20% costlier than the petrol version. So means if the petrol Tiago is costing 5 lakh, the EV will cost you only 6 lakh. So they are promising that to the customers, that we are going to sell EV vehicles only for 20% above the normal selling price of our vehicles, which are running on petrol or diesel. So I think that is a point which will increase the sales. And one more demerger is going to take place. You can take a note of this also. One more demerger. What they are going to do is Reliance Industries Limited is going to demerge the petroleum part, because they are going to enter into a deal with Saudi Aramco. So for that deal, Reliance Industries Limited is going to demerge the Reliance Petroleum Limited part out of Reliance Industries. So if that happens, now I am already a shareholder of Reliance Industries. So what will happen, I have the shares of Reliance Industries, plus I will also get the shares of the demerged company. And the value of the original company will reduce. Means, say for example, the value of the original company is 1 lakh, right? And from that, petroleum is demerged and value of the petroleum company is 25,000. means 25% is the value of petroleum, right? So what will happen now? You will be having the shares of original company, plus you will also get the shares of petroleum, which is a demerged company now, right? That is called as the resulting company. I'm sorry, the new company that is formed is called as the resulting company, and the old company is called as the demerged. So now what will be the value of my share? You know, for old company it will be 75,000, and for new company it will be 25,000. So these ratios and all, they calculate on the basis of the financial assets and liabilities of that particular resulting enterprise. Yes, Ritik.
Sir, so when a company is demerged and a new company is formed, you will also check whether it can be a separate reporting segment, sir?
Sir, if it is a separate reporting segment, right? See,
Yeah.
not reporting segment, it is more to be a segment.
Okay.
It is, see, what the prima facie condition is, it should be a segment. Whether it is reported or not, that is a different story, because then para 27 has to be checked.
Yeah. That's
That
what
is
I'm
not
saying,
important.
sir. It will be checked for a reporting segment. Is what
No. It should be a segment.
Okay.
If it is a reportable or not, that is a secondary point. But what is the definition saying? It can be distinct. It can be distinguished. Can be distinguished operationally and can be distinguished for segment reporting purposes also.
Okay.
Right? So I'll again get back to my definition. My definition says disposing of substantially in its entirety, such as selling the component in a single transaction. The example I gave of Tata iPlus selling the entire business to Lenskart, or by demerger, I gave you the example of Tata passenger segment is going to be demerged from Tata Motors, or spin-off of the ownership of the component of the enterprise shareholders. Means whichever component, means whichever business segment or the geographical segment you are planning to discontinue, you will discontinue by selling the stakes of that particular component. Means spin-off of ownership means change of ownership. And how change of ownership occurs? You transfer all your shares with respect to that component to some other new person, and those new person becomes the owners now. So these are the three ways in which you can entirely dispose your component. First, either by entering into a single transaction, that is sell off in entirely. Second, or by demerger, or third, by change in ownership. That is nothing but spin-off of the ownership. That is first way of disposing. The second way of disposing is disposal of piecemeal. Now, what is disposal of piecemeal means? Here, we are not going to sell off the entire unit in one shot. We will sell off some assets and pay off some liabilities. So this process generally takes a longer period of time. The demerger or selling in a single transaction or spin-off of ownership will not take much time. 6 months, 8 months, maximum 1 year, you can complete the discontinuing operation. But sir, disposing of piecemeal take number of years, because you should find eligible buyers, then you will sell it at a particular rate, then you will pay off your liabilities, there will be some disputes has to be handled. So it takes 3 or 4 years to complete all these things. Right? And thirdly, terminating through abandonment. Terminating through abandonment means, sir, from tomorrow onwards, we will not do any operations with that component. We will stop all the activities. Abandon all the activities of that operation. Right? So we are terminating the component by abandoning all the operations with immediate effect. Later, we will decide what has to be done. How it will be sold, that is later decided. But now the management has decided that from tomorrow onwards we will not operate. That is called as terminating through abandonment. Right? So in any of the three cases, what the logic is, we are stopping our operations and we are now selling it off to some other person because we don't want to continue. So either you can sell off in a single transaction, or you demerge it, means remove it from the main company and form a new company for it, or change the ownership. For that component, change the ownership of the shares. So you are no more the owner, owner will be some third person now. Or else do piecemeal, or first terminate by abandonment. So the important logic with the definition is what, first check whether it's a separate component of the enterprise or not, means whether it's a separate business segment and a geographical segment or not. That is first condition. Second condition, if it is a business or a geographical segment, then you should check whether you are selling it or not. See, selling is very important. Either you can sell off substantially in its entirety, that is in one shot, or you can sell it by piecemeal distribution, or terminate through abandonment, means with immediate effect, stop all the activities. With immediate effect, stop all the activities. Now, the best example was Jet Airways. Jet Airways had a flight in the morning at 9:45, first flight. The flight got cancelled. Why? Jet Airways says we are terminating through abandonment. We don't want to do business anymore. Because if any of our flight takes off, it will be an operating loss for us. So when the operating losses are not bearable, the enterprise may take such decision, that is terminating through abandonment. I hope the definition point is clear to people. So it is very important for every example that is coming up in your mind, it should fit in this definition. Firstly, it should be a business or a geographical segment. And secondly, there should be a discontinuance taking place. Discontinuance means you are selling it off, either entirely or by piecemeal, or as of now, terminate all the operations and then it will be sold off. So definition fulfillment is important. So let us understand two examples now. With the help of these two examples, you can get a very clear picture of the definition. I'll just read the two examples. What it says, XY Limited has three major lines of business. Steel business, tea business, and electrical appliance. Now, can I say all the three can be considered as three different business segments? Because all the three products has a risk and reward which is different from one another. Correct? It has decided to sell the steel division. During the financial year 2002-03. A sale agreement has been entered into on 30th of November 2012. So they have entered into a sale agreement. Now, when they enter into a sale agreement to sell off entire steel division, it is called as what, selling of substantially in its entirety. The first point, disposing of substantially in its entirety, such as by selling the component in a single transaction. This is a single transaction, right? So a sale agreement has been entered into on 30th November 2002 with Z Limited, under which the division shall be transferred to Z Limited on 30th of March 2003. So within 6 months, we will transfer the unit to you. This is a case of disposing of substantially in its entirety. Correct? However, if the resolution is passed for sale of various assets and to repay the various liabilities individually of the steel division, then it is a case of disposing by piecemeal. And sir, you will also learn one chapter in your CA Inter, dissolution of partnership firms. In this dissolution of partnership firms, you will learn this concept of piecemeal distribution. Now, what is piecemeal? See, what is the name? Piecemeal. No disputes. Relax. Sell assets and pay off the liabilities on the basis of their priority. So who is preferred more? Pay them first. So if taxing authorities are pending, pay the taxing authorities first. Tax authorities first. Government first. Then comes banks. Then comes your creditors. And finally, then after that comes your preference shareholders. And finally comes your equity shareholders. That is called as piecemeal way. Right? I hope this example is clear. Now understand this example. Now this is also a good example. A FMCG company is manufacturing brands of soap, Synthol and Breeze. Two brands of soap they are manufacturing. Company has gradually planned to shift all the manufacturing operations engaged into soaps to manufacture only Breeze soap. So I think Synthol is not having demand. So what company is planning to close down the production of Synthol and rather increase the production of Breeze, right? What they say, engage into soaps to manufacture only Breeze soap. Now this is important from here, without closing the factory or the plant producing Synthol soap, rather utilizing the production facilities of Synthol soap for producing Breeze soap. Now sir, here the major point is, first of all, as per the definition, it is not a discontinuing operation. This is called as gradual phasing out of a product. Some products become outdated in the market or they are of a lesser demand. So the company has to phase them out and bring new products in front of it, or existing products demand has to be fulfilled. Here, this would have become a discontinuing operation if the factories and all producing Synthol soap would also have been sold off. I hope you are getting the point. But here only the product, one of the product is closed. That product is no more available. So it is not called as a discontinuing operation. And sir, one of the best example is again the automobile industry only. Sir, so many automobile companies discontinue their vehicles year after year because they don't have demand. So are they discontinuing the entire operation or one or two products from their fleet of products? Right? Now Maruti discontinued Ritz, Tata discontinued Hexa, Tata discontinued Nano, right? Hyundai has discontinued so many old model. Now for Yamaha RX100 is discontinued. Cell phone industry very common. So models get so much discontinued in a very short period of time. But they are still doing the mobile business. Now Apple technically every year discontinues the older model. It is available in the market, that is a different story, but officially Apple discontinues it. If you go and check on Apple website, you will not get 11 Pro or 11 Pro Max. You will get only iPhone 11 and you will get all the 12 models. 10R is not available on website, but 10R is available on Flipkart and Amazon and all the local stores. iPhone 10R. So only discontinuing a product doesn't mean that the operation is discontinued. If Apple says that we will no more make iPhones, we will sell out the entire iPhone division to Samsung, then it will be considered as what? A discontinuing operation, which is hypothetical. Right? Apple will never do that. Yes or no? So technically, this is how you understand. You have to fit it in the definition. So for Apple, iPhone is a separate business segment. Yes, sir. Right? It can be reported separately and it has got different operations as compared to other divisions like iPads and MacBooks. Yes, sir. Technically, yes. So Apple has decided to sell off in a single agreement with Samsung. Or Apple Inc. has decided to demerge iPhone division and make a new company out of it called as Apple iPhones Inc. That is possible. So that can also be done. That is called as demerger. So demerger is also called as a discontinuing operation, and it is a discontinuing operation from the main company point of view. Because from the main company that business is removed and it is made a new company out of it. For the main company, yes, it is a discontinuing operation. So only closing one or two products or closing down certain services. I'll give you one more example with service. Now say I'm a mechanic, right? I'm a mechanic and sir, I have a proper shop, proper 400, 500 square feet repairing shop. And I'm doing the business from 1980s. Earlier, I used to repair typewriters. But after the typewriters got outdated, so I started repairing fax machines. Then fax machine also got outdated. Then came computers, desktop computers. But nowadays, desktop computers nobody buys. Only the gamers and all they buy, or the video editing people, they buy Macs and all. Nowadays, everybody is using laptop only. And laptops are available for 20,000-30,000 rupees range. So everybody buys a personal laptop. So now I have started repairing laptops. So can I say I have changed my services from time to time? Is it a discontinuing operation or not? No, sir. It is called as gradual phasing out of a class of service. because my services are phased out because the service that I used to provide are now outdated. Right? But I have continued with my all assets and liabilities. I have continued with my premises. I have continued my operations by revising my services. But if I decide, no, from now onwards, I will close down the entire facility and I will move from this repairing business and start a trading business now. I will start trading in laptops and mobile phones. I will discontinue this. And in the same premise only, I will start a new business. So will the earlier business be considered as a discontinuing operation? Answer is yes. Because you have to settle all the assets and liabilities of that business first and then start up with a new business. So that will be considered as what? A discontinuing operation. Yes, sir.
Sir, supposing there is a change in regulation, a policy or a law. So because of that, let's say one of our divisions has been like, we cannot like further manufacture products or something.
Plastic, sir, take example of plastic.
As you told, sir, in your example that day.
So you cannot run the business of
your
that
friends.
Yes.
Yeah,
it will be a discontinuing operation.
Discontinued.
Yes, because I have to sell off everything now. Because Supreme Court has put a ban on me.
Yes, sir.
So if Supreme Court or my High Court puts a ban on me, then I cannot do anything. I have to close down my operations.
Okay. Yes, sir. Got it.
Yes, Naveen.
Sir, that second example that FMCG company shifted from Synthol to Breeze, no, sir? For that, can you say it as a definition, sir, for noting it down as some definition?
Means I did not get your point.
Sir, that wording, sir, like a definition, sir. It is not a continuing operation. If there is
sir, it is very simple. You no need to put any wordings for that. It is very clear that factory is not sold.
Yes, sir.
That one point is enough. Why? Because this major point, see, in your definition, it is very important to fulfill point number 1. That is that the enterprise pursuant to a single plan.
Okay, sir.
So if any of these three is not happening at all, then it is not a discontinuing operation.
Okay.
Right? So here, even if Synthol and Breeze are two different segments of the enterprise,
okay, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
But no selling of or anything is happening.
Yes, sir.
One of the product is discontinued and other product is being continued.
Okay.
So that is just called as discontinuance of a product, not an operation.
Okay.
And technically, sir, Synthol and Breeze cannot be taken as two different segments. They have to be one segment only.
One segment.
Because it is end of the day a soap.
Yes, sir.
If it is a dishwashing bar and bathing soap, then it is a different thing. Because both are having different risk and reward.
Uses. Okay. Thank you.
Uses, yes.
Sir, in that plastic factory example, no, sir, your friend sold out the machines and again he altered it to produce according to the law, no, sir. So will that be discontinuing operation?
No, that is not.
No.
He just sold off the old machines and bought the new machines and continued with the operations. Because he then manufactured the plastic as per the government regulations. That is greater than 50 microns and greater than 100 microns.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, sir.
Yes, Vansh. Please speak, Vansh.
For example, a Tata company has two products, Tata Tiago and Tata. I'm speaking, am I audible?
Sir, switch off your camera and then speak, sir. I think your internet connection is very poor. Your internet connection is very poor, sir. Please switch off your camera and then speak.
So now?
Please speak.
So suppose Tata company has two products, Tata Tiago and Tata Nexon. And as you told, Tata main revenue operation comes from Tata Nexon only, not from Tata Tiago.
Hmm.
Just in case, sir. So suppose if we discontinue Tata Nexon, so say like anyways it has no revenue from Tata Tiago. So will that be considered as a discontinued operation?
Sir, it is just a product discontinuance because Tata passenger vehicle is the main segment and that is continuing the production or manufacturing of other cars. Only one particular car is discontinued and that happens every year.
No, so suppose if the other product has not giving any revenue.
No, sir, 1 minute. We are not here with the product. We are here with the division, the entire segment. So when I say Tata has three segments: light commercial, heavy commercial, and passenger. So in passenger vehicles, we will check the overall result. Individually also you can check which car is sold more, and on that basis you will take a decision whether to continue with that product or not. But that doesn't mean that you are taking a decision whether to continue with the passenger division or not. If your passenger division is fully loss making, then you can sell off. Now, for example, Datsun and Nissan are struggling in India. Datsun, I think, will wind off. Now, Nissan has got one car, Magnite, which is doing good. So Nissan has got one ray of hope that I think we will survive with the help of Magnite. But all other Nissan cars are a huge flop in India.
Okay.
So even for a one product or two product, you cannot say that the entire segment is to be discontinued. The product gets discontinued every year. That is very common.
So if both
Yes,
the products discontinued, then only it is a discontinued operation.
Sir, but there are other products in Tata Motors, na, sir. If
So
Tata Motors
suppose.
no, yeah, you're getting it wrong. Please stick to the basics. If one or two product lines are closed, it is not a discontinuing operation. Because Tata, if two products are even discontinued, other products are still there now. Has it discontinued to manufacture entire passenger vehicles? If that is the situation, then it's a discontinuing operation. Yes, Shweta, you can speak.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, in the soap example, what if both the soaps are carried out in different factories or different outlets?
They are done in different factories only, na? Without closing the factory or plant producing synthol. So synthol factory we have not winded up. We are rather using the synthol factory for breeze now.
Okay, sir. Oh, okay. Both
If
the factories are
factory
used
is
for
sold out, then it
synthol.
is a different story.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Right. Let us go ahead. Examples which do not constitute discontinuing operations. Now these are very important. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points which are not discontinuing operations. And in exam, what these people can do is they can consider any of this one point, make a case study type of question and ask you whether in this situation it's a discontinuing operation or not. So you have to be careful in such cases. Now what is the point? Examples which do not. First, I've already explained. Gradual phasing out of product line or class of service. As your products gets outdated, you phase out old products and bring new products. So that doesn't mean it's a discontinuing operation. Second, this is important. Discontinuing even if abruptly several products with an ongoing line of business. Means you have an ongoing line of business, but one or two products are discontinued abruptly. Discontinued abruptly means they're with immediate effect, they have been discontinued. Best example was Maggi noodles. Around 3 or 4 years back or 5 years back, lot of lead content was found in Maggi noodles, and it led in a nationwide ban on Maggi overnight. But other products of Maggi were continued. So the line of business of Maggi, because Nestle is the main company and Maggi is one of their segment. Because in Maggi you have Maggi masala, Maggi noodles, Maggi ketchup. So other Maggi products were going on. Only noodles was banned because it had a lot of lead content. So this is one example where you can say discontinuing even if abruptly some of the products. So that product when you discontinue, it doesn't mean that the entire segment is discontinued. So it is not a discontinuing operation. Then point number C. shifting of some production or marketing activity for particular line of business from one location to another. Means shifting of factories or shifting of your marketing activities from one location to another location. But sir, your operations are still continued. No? You are just shifting from one place to another. Means sir, first my factory was in Mumbai. Now running a factory in Mumbai is very difficult. So what did I do? I shifted my factory from Mumbai and I took it to Nasik MIDC. Now Nasik is a city 140 kilometers away from Mumbai, but it is comparatively a cheaper city. Electricity, water, labor, everything is cheap over there. So running a factory over there is much cheaper. So I'm shifting. I have not closed down the factory. I've just shifted the location. Operations are continuing. I hope you get this point. But if I close down the factory and I don't open a new factory at all, then it's a discontinuing operation. Because then one geographical location is winded off forever. So here we are just shifting the location, but operation is still continued. Point number 4. Selling a subsidiary whose activities are similar to those of its parent or its other fellow subsidiaries. Means, sir, there is one parent company who sells electronic goods, and the subsidiary company also sells electronic goods. Correct? I'll give you an example. You know Hindware appliances. Its subsidiaries new name is Moonbow Appliances. Moonbow Appliances. Moonbow also sells water filters, and Hindware also sells water filters. So if Moonbow, Moonbow or something, Moon is, I think it is Moonbowe, the name of the subsidiary. So if Hindware sells of Moonbow, it will not be considered as a discontinuing operation because holding and subsidiary do similar activity. But if holding is doing some other activity and subsidiary is doing some other activity and the subsidiary company is sold off, that will be considered as a discontinuing operation. And last point, a question is also there on this point. On last point, a question has been asked. Closing of facility to achieve productivity improvements or other cost saving means we are closing one of our factory, right? Or one of our part of operations and may start with other for just achieving higher productivity, improved productivity and cost savings. It happens. I have an old factory, old machinery. So I decided to square it off, sell it off, open a new facility with new machineries. So I will get fast production, so higher productivity, good quality production, plus cost will be saved. Or some people also do like this. Some process they don't do in-house, they outsource it. Why? Because outsourcing sometimes becomes cheaper than in-house manufacturing. So we discontinue our in-house process. We close down the in-house processing unit because rather than to process in-house, it is better to get it from outside. That is more cheaper. So when you close down your internal process unit, that is not considered as a discontinuing operation because you are closing it down to achieve what? Cost savings. And that is happening. Many people do it. Earlier, people used to manufacture everything in-house, but to a certain process, the finished goods are available in the market. So you just have to get it from outside, right? And further process and sell it. Correct? So these are the examples with respect to the operations which are not considered as a discontinuing operation. Right? Yes.
So can you repeat once the 4th point?
Madam, it is selling a subsidiary whose business activities are similar to the holding company. So if holding company and subsidiary company both are doing similar type of activities, or the subsidiary company is doing a similar activity as compared to the fellow subsidiaries, then when you sell off such type of subsidiary, it is not considered as a discontinuing operation. Means modus, the basic point is what? The holding and subsidiary or the subsidiary and fellow subsidiaries should be doing same type of activities.
Okay.
then it will not be
Okay,
considered as
sir.
a discontinuing operation.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you, sir.
Right?
Sir,
Yes. Yes,
now,
Aditya.
now a company has invested in other company just for investment purpose. More than 51%, it
Sir,
has a
please switch
stake.
off your camera.
So
Sir,
it's
please switch off
a
your camera.
subsidiary now.
Please switch off your camera and then speak. You're not audible.
Am I
Yes,
audible,
please.
sir?
Yes, please speak now.
Yes, sir. Now company has invested in another company 51% or more. So there is a subsidiary and holding relationship.
Huh?
And the subsidiary, the internal management with its own intention discontinued. Will it come as a discontinuing operation for holding company?
I didn't understand your point, sir. Sorry, I did not get your point.
No, sir. The subsidiary,
Hmm.
with its own will, it stopped its operation.
Sir, how can a subsidiary with its own will stop the operation?
Own
It is the
will
holding
means
who is
internal
going to decide.
management.
How can internal management decide? Because internal management will be of the holding only. Subsidiary will not have a management. It will be held by the holding company only.
Okay.
Subsidiary cannot have a different management. The holding company will only decide who will be the management. And management cannot take its own decision. It is the holding who will take the decision about the subsidiary. Right? Let us go ahead. Now we are moving ahead to the last part of the topic with respect to disclosures. I would say that, sir, with respect to a discontinuing operation, the disclosures should be started to be given from that financial year in which the initial disclosure event takes place, and the disclosure should be given till that financial year in which finally the discontinuance procedure is completed. So means if discontinuance takes 4 or 5 years, then for all the 4 or 5 years disclosures are required. It is not like that only 1 year you disclose and after that no need of disclosure. No, you have to give the disclosure in all these years. Now, what do you mean by the initial disclosure event? Sir, there are two events. Whichever takes place earlier becomes the initial disclosure event. And when the initial disclosure event takes place, from that financial year only, whatever financial statements you make for that financial year, from that year only you should start disclosing. Means that would be the first year of disclosure. And then followed by in the next years till when the discontinuing operation is completely discontinued. And once it is discontinued, from next year onwards, don't give any disclosure because now it is a discontinued operation. Right? So let us understand what they say. Information about planned discontinuance must be disclosed in the first set of financial statements immediately after the initial disclosure event takes place. Means, in simple terms, I would say from that financial year in which initial disclosure event takes place. So if the initial disclosure event takes place in the financial year 18-19, so in the financial statements of 18-19 and onwards, you should start giving the disclosures as per AS 24. An initial disclosure event is the event out of these two, whichever occurs earlier. So there are two events, whichever takes place earlier becomes the initial disclosure event. Point number 1. Entering into an agreement to sell substantially all the assets of the discontinuing operation, or approving and announcing of the discontinuance plan, whichever is earlier. Means there are two types of people. First, they will approve, the board of directors will approve the plan, and it will be announced to all the people, those who are affected by the discontinuance. Means to all the employees, to all the creditors, to all the debtors, right? To all the banks or financial institutions from we have taken the loan, to the respective stakeholders of that particular component of the enterprise, right? So you have to first approve it in the board of directors meeting and then announce. So approval and announcing both are important. So some people, what they do, they will approve and announce the plan first, and then find an eligible buyer and then enter into an agreement. Right? But there are some people, those who will internally decide that we are going to sell, and they find the eligible buyer, enter into the agreement first, and then do this approving and announcing process. So technically, for the first type of people, approval and announcing becomes the initial disclosure event, because that takes place first. And for the second type of people, they first enter into the agreement to sell, and then they announce and approve the plan. So for them, entering into the agreement comes first. So technically, whichever takes place first becomes the initial disclosure event, and from that year, you should start disclosing. See, I've put two dates over here. 5th October 2020, 5th October 2020, approving and announcing of plan took place. And on 15th April 2021, the agreement to sell was entered. So which of the two dates takes place earlier? Sir, can I say 5th October takes place earlier? So 5th October means approving and announcing of discontinuance plan is the initial disclosure event. And this event took place in financial year 2021. So technically from financial year 2021, you will start disclosing about the discontinuing operation. Now somebody is asking me, if you enter into agreement first and after that shareholder do not agree, sir, then that is not our lookout in this chapter at least. Then if there is any dispute raised, they can go to the court of law. But technically it is just a segment of the enterprise, not the whole enterprise. So shareholders will not take that much into seriously. I'll simply say Tata Motor is going to demerge, right? Everybody is happy. And if anybody is not happy, they can always go to the court. That is your choice. But that is not our point of agenda over here. Right? So when the initial disclosure event takes place, in that from that financial year, you should start disclosing. Correct? Now let us see the last part of the topic. What are the presentation and disclosure requirements? Sir, trust me, this entire answer will come for 5 marks in exam. What are the disclosure requirements of AS 24? This answer can come in exam for 5 marks. Correct? Now, initial disclosures. The first disclosures after initial disclosure event occurs about the discontinuance operation. Means once your initial disclosure event takes place, after that you are going to make your financial statement. So in that financial statement, all these points have to be disclosed. So what are the points? Means, for example, in this case, on 5th October 2020, initial disclosure event took place. So technically, for the financial year 2021, we will disclose all these points. And sir, these points will also be disclosed further years also. It is not that only in the first year. It will come in future years also. So first point, description of the discontinuing operation. Means you have to describe about your discontinuing operation. Give the summary of it, what you are doing, what manufacturing or what trading activity, that all you have to disclose. Point number 2, whether it is a business or a geographical segment in which it was reported. Means you have to tell whether it was a business or a geographical segment. Third, date and nature of initial disclosure event. So in our example, date was 5th October 2020 and nature of initial disclosure was approving and announcing of the discontinuance plan. So that is what is required to be disclosed. So date and the nature of initial disclosure event. So whichever has taken place first, that has to be disclosed there with the date. Point number 4, expected completion of the discontinuance. Means how many years you are going to take. Expected 2 years, 3 years. Please disclose that also. Point number 5, carrying amount of total assets and liabilities to be disposed of. Means in simple terms, prepare a statement of assets and liabilities. It is not a balance sheet. It is just a statement of assets and liabilities which will not tally. Sir, why? The share capital is not there in that. Yes or no? So it will never tally. That is why I did not say the word balance sheet. I use the word statement of assets and liabilities should be made. Then, amount of revenue, that is amount of incomes and expenses attributable to the discontinuing operation, as well as amount of pre-tax profit or loss, that is profit before taxes, and income taxes provisions attributable to discontinuing operation. Means in technicality, these 2 points comprise a separate profit and loss account. Because in the profit and loss account only you show all the revenues, all the expenses, profit before taxes and tax expenses in the P&L. So technically for a discontinuing operation, a separate P&L is also required. Now sir, a separate P&L is required because generally the loss-making segments are only discontinued. So what happens, as an enterprise, you make the full profit and loss account, which will consider the figures of continuing as well as discontinuing operations both. But what happens, generally discontinuing are in losses. So these losses unnecessary reduce the profit of your continuing operations and your overall profitability is affected. So to show to your stakeholders or your users of the financial statements that our profits have reduced because of the discontinuing operation, they tell us to draft a separate P&L of the discontinuing operation in the notes to accounts. So that when the people go through, they can come to know, Acha, this discontinuing has got this much loss, which is also shown in the main P&L account. That is why the overall profitability is reducing. So this is the major reason why they say you prepare a separate PL account. Then finally, net cash flows attributable to the operating, investing and financing activities of the discontinuing operation. So it is nothing but you have to prepare a separate cash flow statement. Because I don't know whether cash flow is done in your batch or not. Because if you do cash flow, you will understand what are operating, investing and financing activities, cash flows from these activities. So in short, I can say you have to prepare a separate cash flow statement. Apart from these, there are some other disclosures. When an enterprise disposes of assets or settles liabilities attributable to a discontinuing operation, the following other information is also to be disclosed. Means, whenever you are selling off some assets and settling off some liabilities, these are the 2 points additional you have to disclose over and above whatever you have disclosed above. So what you have to disclose, point number 1, amount of profit or loss recognized on the sale of assets or settlement of liabilities and related income tax. Now, why they are using the word related income tax? Because when you sell off assets, there will be capital gains and there will be capital gain tax applicable to your assets. So you have to disclose both. Whatever is the profit or loss on sale plus the tax implications on it. Both has to be disclosed. Plus one more disclosure, the net selling prices from the sale of those net assets for which the enterprise has entered into a binding sale agreement and the expected time thereof and the carrying amount of those assets. Now please understand what is this next point. It says when an enterprise with respect to a discontinuing operation has entered into an agreement with other party for selling of certain assets, right? You have entered into an agreement that I will sell you these assets. So for such agreements, you have to disclose 3 things. First, book value of all the assets that you are going to sell in that agreement. Second, selling prices of all those assets which you are going to sell. And third, what is the expected time of sale? Means in how many months the sale will be completed. 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, as the case may be. So these are your total disclosure requirements of AS24, and this can come as a separate question in your exam. This is for piecemeal. Yes, the second point generally comes for piecemeal, because where you sell some of the assets and pay off some liabilities. Now technically now, when you are selling it off in its entirety, disclosures can maximum come for 1 or 2 years, because in 1 or 2 years maximum the enterprise is gone. I mean, enterprise in the segment is gone. But when piecemeal is done, piecemeal takes a lot of time. It will take 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, as the case may be. Right? The second point is very simple. It just says that if you have entered into agreement to sell assets to somebody, right? So for those assets which are shown in that agreement that I will sell you, For those assets, you have to disclose three things: book value of the asset, the expected selling price that you have written in the agreement, and third, what is the time it will be taking to sell off these particular assets. Three things to be disclosed. Yes, Aparna.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I have a doubt regarding one of the examples of the which are not the examples of discontinuing
Yeah,
operations.
please.
Supposing I have, say, 5 plants where I produce 5 different products, and I am shutting down one plant with an intention to either shift the location or for increased production. But I am not opening another plant within a year or so. So does the time period matter, or is it just the intention that with which I had shut the plant?
Point number 1, are those your 5 different segments?
Yes, sir.
They are your 5 different segments,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
But madam, then you are not a proper businesswoman, because no enterprise can take such a decision. How can you keep your product out of the market for 2 years or 1 year, and then you will feel that no, I will come back after 2 years and I'll get sales? No, you will lose your market share.
If they are not segments?
If they are not segments, then it is not coming
Doesn't
in the
matter.
definition only.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Right.
got it. Okay.
So, example is hypothetical.
Okay, sir.
Right? Now we look for some questions where the concepts will get more clear when you have a look at the questions. Right? There are some 5 questions for this particular topic. So, and all, I think for all the 5 solutions are given. Yes. I want people to please come to page number 141 of the material. Page number 141 of the material. Right? We'll start with question number 1. Question number 1. What it says? Compel Limited is discontinuing a product segment. It is discontinuing a product segment, means it's a separate business segment which they are planning to discontinue, which is not a reportable segment within the meaning of AS 17, and it is reported in segment information as an unallocated reconciling item. Unallocated reconciling item means it is not a reportable segment, but it can be considered as reportable only if it is required by management. So technically, we are not reporting this. That is why it is considered as unallocated reconciling item. Management intends to sell off the assets and settle the liabilities by piecemeal distribution. Is it a discontinuing operation or not? It is not a reportable segment. So will it be a discontinuing operation? Yes or no? No. Many people are saying no. Yes, one yes I got. Majority no. Now, sir, I just want to say one point. In the definition of discontinuing operation, was it written that it should be compulsorily a reportable segment? And if I'm not wrong, I also talked about this point. I said that reportable is not that important. It is to be a segment that is more important. Means it should be a segment which can be used for the purpose of segment reporting. And segment reporting can be done only if it is a segment, right? So being a segment is more important. And in this question, in the first line itself, they've given that yes, it's a reportable segment. I'm really sorry. It's a product segment, means it's a business segment. Plus, they are also selling off all the assets and liabilities by piecemeal distribution. So what did I told to you? To decide whether it is discontinuing or not, 2 points to be noted. First, it should be a segment. And second, it should be disposed either of in substantially in its entirety, that is by selling off in one single agreement, or a demerger or spin-off of ownership, or it can be through piecemeal distribution or through termination by abandonment. So here piecemeal is taking place. So technically, technically, it is a discontinuing operation. It is fulfilling or it is satisfying the definition. Right? So let's look at the solution. What it says, normally segments reportable under AS17 are purely discontinuing operations for AS24 also. But what about those segments which act as unallocated reconciling item, means not reportable segments? Reportable segment or part of reportable segment can also be discontinuing operation. Condition for discontinuing operation is that the discontinuing operation should be a major business line or area of operation, means it should either be a business segment or it should be a geographical segment. That is the condition of discontinuing operation. Whether it is reportable or not, that is not the condition. So in this present case, C Limited is disposing one of the product segment through piecemeal distribution. Selling of the attributable assets and liabilities itself indicates that some of the assets and liabilities of the business are attributable to that segment. Hence, it is a discontinuing operation. So two major conditions. One, it is a product segment, it's a business segment, and secondly, piecemeal distribution is done. So these 2 points are enough to say that yes, it's a discontinuing operation. Right? Let's go ahead for the next one. Question number 2, sir. This is a similar question to the Synthol and Breeze example that I had given. This is a similar question. Let us read this question, and this had come in exam before. A cosmetic producing company provides the following information. January to September, per month, 2 lakh cold cream manufactured and 2 lakh vanishing cream manufactured. And in October to December, 3 months, per month, 1 lakh cold cream and 3 lakh vanishing. So technically, they are shifting the cold cream production towards vanishing cream production, reducing cold cream and increasing vanishing. And in January 2013 to March 2000, no, this cannot be 13, this is 14. Jan 14 to March 14, 0 cold cream and 4 lakh vanishing cream. Correct? Now, what is technically company doing? Reducing one production and increasing the other's production. Why? So technically vanishing cream might be having more demand and it may be some new type of product. Now Fair and Lovely HD glow, Fair and Lovely normal glow. Now normal glow is phasing out. HD glow. Now you have HD TV, HD phones, you have a HD cream also, which will make your face look like HD glow. Now I wonder what happened. I never use such creams or anything because we have a proper South Indian color. And whatever cream you apply, it is not going to change. So don't waste money on those creams. Rather save it. As simple as that. And I'm proud to be a South Indian. And I'm proud to be a dark guy. Right? So let's go ahead. The company has enforced a gradual change in product line on the basis of an overall plan. Means basically they are just changing their product line. And sir, changing the product line is never considered as a discontinuing operation because it is simple, gradual phasing out of a product line because of lesser demand. The board of directors of the company has also passed a resolution in March 2013 to this effect. The company follows calendar year of accounting. Should this be treated as a discontinuing operation? Give your reasons. No, sir, it is not. It is actually a question from our one of the examples of not constituting a discontinuing operation. First example, gradual or evolutionary phasing out of any product line or class of services. That is the point on which question has been raised. So let's read the solution. By gradually reducing the size of operations in the product line of cold cream, the company has increased its scale of operations in vanishing cream. Such a change is a gradual or evolutionary phasing out of a product line or class of service and does not meet the definition criteria, namely disposing of substantially in its entirety a component of an enterprise. So you are not selling off your component, you are just changing your product lines, and which is very common in nowadays enterprise. Because now the companies don't have the patience to wait for 3 or 4 years to earn profits from a product. If the product is not suitable in the market, they come to know in 3 or 4 months. They immediately change their product. Hence, this changeover is not a discontinuing operation. As simple as that. Correct? We'll do question number 4 and 5 first. Then we'll be at par with morning batch. If time permits, we'll go for the third one also. We'll wind up the chapter today itself. Resource Enterprises produces a standard type of tools and equipments for industrial use. Okay. The company carry out its production into 3 processes. So process 1, process 2, and finally when the process 3 takes place, finished product comes out. Okay. It has been found that over a period of time, cost of production of the first process is 15% higher than the market price of the intermediate product available freely in the market. Means after doing the first process, whatever output we are getting, that same type of product, that same type of output is also available in the market, and that is actually for 15% cheaper. Means if you are manufacturing by doing the first process and 10 rupees is the cost, in market you are getting the same product at 8.5. 15% cheaper in market, and you are 15% higher. The company has decided to close down the first process as a measure of cost saving. Should this event be treated as a discontinuing operation? No, sir. We saw an example. The last example of the not a discontinuing operation, closing down a facility to achieve higher productivity or cost savings. That is the point on which question is asked. So it is not a discontinuing operation. This is just for achieving cost savings. So it is not a discontinuing operation. So what it says, the company has made a good decision of outsourcing the service in respect of a single process. This has been done by the company with a view to achieve cost reduction. The change is merely a cost saving endeavor. Such a change does not meet the definition criteria in paragraph number 3A. 3A is nothing but the first point of the paragraph, that is selling off. Hence, this change is not a discontinuing operation. So technically it doesn't fit in the definition, because you are closing down a facility to achieve cost saving. You have not stopped manufacturing the final product. You are still manufacturing the final product by doing the second and third process in-house. Only one process has been outsourced. So that processing, one process when you outsource, doesn't mean that you are discontinuing the entire operation. So that is why it is not a discontinuing operation. Right? This is the best question in the entire topic. 5th one, the best question. I feel it is the best. Right? Let us read this. This is a final question, if I'm not wrong. This is a CA final level question. Old syllabus. A company has 2 divisions. This is old syllabus CA final, not the new syllabus one. A company has 2 divisions, cement and steel. It has started negotiating for disposal of the steel division informally since May 2008. Discussion has been held with the possible buyers, but the labor union has demonstrated against this secret deal. The company has given a statement that there is no move to sell the steel division. So first these people tried to enter into agreement for selling the steel division secretly. But sir, labor union, right, they got the information and they started demonstrating, how can you sell? You are not going to sell this, because what will happen to us if you sell the unit? So company gave a clear statement. Fine, we are not doing anything. We are continuing with the business. Okay. The significant reduction in the production has taken place. Production has reduced because of decline in the market demand for the company's product, not as a planned strategy to close down the operation. Means company had never planned a strategy to close down the operation, but now they are compelled to close down the operation because the productions are reducing because of lesser market demands. So finally, during November 2008, the board of directors has announced that they are considering disposal of the steel division because of continuing losses suffered by that division. Okay, but no formal resolution is passed. They have announced it that we are going to close down, but sir, formal resolution is not passed, sir. Board resolution is not passed. Okay. Necessary formalities for disposing of the division were fulfilled only during January 2009, and the steel division was finally disposed of in the last week of January 2009. So basically, they are following calendar year 2008, 2009, 2 years they are talking about. The company follows calendar year as accounting year. Does this event requires disclosure? So will 2008 require a disclosure stating that initial disclosure event has taken place? And has the initial disclosure event taken place in 2008 or not? Please answer carefully. What are the initial disclosure events? First is what? Entering into the agreement to sell off substantially all the assets of the unit, or approving and announcing the discontinuance plan. Which of the two has taken place first, or nothing has taken place in 2008? Directly it is taking place in 2009. I'm getting answer none, nothing took place in 2008. Please answer, has anything taken place in 2008 or not? We have announced the plan. We announced the plan. Announcement has been made. Point number 2, yes sir. Point number 2, only in 2009. Sujit says only in 2009. Secret deal, Anshul Bafna, but secret deal was cancelled, sir. Company issued a statement, no. Formal resolution, so no approval. No formal resolution means no approval. Okay. Sir, if you go and check the initial disclosure event, two events, any one of the two should take place earlier. Right? And in that, the second point was approving and announcing. Sir, both are important. Approval as well as announcement. And in the question, it is clearly given that formal resolutions are not passed. So informally, the board people might have decided, but informally not allowed, na sir. It has to be formally, the resolution should be formally passed in the board meeting, and then the plan should have been announced. So if they are announcing means some informal decisions might have taken place. But sir, informal decisions are not legally binding. A proper board resolution is required for this. So I can simply say that initial disclosure event does not take place in 2008. It directly takes place in 2009 when we are doing all the proper what we say formalities for disposing and finally selling it off in January 2009. So in 2008 we will not require any disclosure. Directly we will require in 2009. So I have given the solution in the PDF file. Okay. Question number 5. What it is? First, I have copy pasted the entire initial disclosure event paragraph because this is a question based on initial disclosure event. So if you see, the first paragraph is full copy paste of the initial disclosure event. So as per AS 24, information about planned discontinuance must be disclosed in the first set of financial statement immediately after the initial disclosure event. An initial disclosure event is the event out of these two, whichever occurs earlier. First, entering into agreement to sell substantially all the assets of the discontinuing operation, and approving and announcing. Sir, both are important. Approval as well as announcement, both are required. Right? So first paragraph, provision paragraph, copy pasted from above. That is with respect to initial disclosure event. Now, in the given case, the company is planning to discontinue steel division. Fine. The directors have announced the plan of discontinuance during November 2008, but the board resolution is not yet passed. As per the standard, the initial disclosure event takes place when the discontinuance plan is approved and announced. Since board resolution is not passed, it can be said that approval of the plan is not yet made. So the initial disclosure does not take place in the year 2008, and hence no disclosure with regards to discontinuance of the steel division is required. In the year 2009, the steel division is disposed. Hence, disclosures would be given in the financial statements of the year 2009. And sir, disclosure will come in only 1 year, 2009, because it is fully disposed in 2009 only. So only 1 year disclosure will be required. Because from 2010, it will become a discontinued operation. So for discontinued operation, AS24 doesn't give disclosures. Right? So major point of the question is what? Formal resolution is not passed. That is the only one line. That gives me a opinion that in 2008, disclosure should not be given. Correct? So we have completed 4 questions of the topic. Question number 3 we will complete in the next session. Right? So technically the topic is completed. In the next session we will require, I think, 5 or 10 minutes to complete this particular question. Right?